Hello again. So in this video, I will show you how we can implement the make payment method. So following the same example that we've seen in the previous video, and also is documented in the connecting to the SDK part, you can copy this method here. And you can go here on the SDK manager class that we've created, and we can paste it. In our case here, we receive an ID. This might be any business ID that you might have in your application for this transaction, or it can be just a random UID if you don't have any. It receives also the total amount, which also includes the tip, and it should be in the minor units of the currency. For example, for British pounds, if you want to pay £1, you actually send 100 here cents of that. And there's also an optional tip amount, which can be null if you're not having any. You also have the choice of using our UI or not, but we recommend you to start this way, and obviously later on you might turn it off if you have a specific reason to want to implement your own UI for in-progress payments. So I'm just going to leave this like this for now, and we can go to our UI part, and in the payment button, click handler. We can start calling that. So same as we did before, we will start by making this async and disabling the button. Once again, we're doing something asynchronous here, so it will be possible for the user to double click, and we want to avoid that if we can. Then I'm just gonna paste here code to actually call the method. So you'll notice that the response is JSON element, but actually here I'm waiting for something else. So the reason is that contrary to other methods, the response is a little bit complex to work with in a JSON format. So what we can do is you can go to the documentation, and there is a class that you can copy, and you can, let's say, create a new item here. So for example, make payment state change. I think it's the name of the class, and we would copy that class here. And yeah, this basically is like a data model for the JSON that we'll receive in the response. You can take a look at it. And now we want to change our method so that instead of returning a JSON element, actually returns one of these classes that we've created. So we do this, and here I can do like response JSON, and then do return, and I can do that. So there you go. So this will now get response, same as the other methods that we've implemented, but now deserialize it into one of these classes. You can do the same for all these methods, but so far this is the most important one to do this. So after this, here, this is now going to work as before, and I can see that I can access it in a type-safe way. I can access this state here, which is actually an enum, and I can check that it is successful. And if so, what I'm doing here is I'm showing some message box, and then updating the cart back to 0 and updating the UI. Once again, because I'm calling an SDK method, it's good to catch the exceptions that might occur there. Obviously, those would be unexpected. For example, if you try to make a payment without having a successful setup. So let's do that. I'll already prepare a finally also block to re-enable the button, same as we did before. And I think all of this would go into the try. Let's give it some proper formatting. And for the exception, we can show message box. And regardless if it fails or succeeds, we want to re-enable the buttons as well. So this way. Obviously, you can have your own else here and handle whatever successful cases there are. You can check here the other possibilities, and you can adapt the UI or show the specific message or whatever the handling might be for your scenario. For this video, I'll keep it like this. If I run the app, the way we have this set up, I have to click Configure SDK. Because we already set up in the previous video, this should return success right away. And it does, that the SDK is ready. What we recommend doing is maybe the first time you set up, it happens when the user clicks on a Configure SDK button, on Configure Teia. But then you save something in disk to let you know next time your process starts that the user has already set up with Teia. So you just call setup right away instead of waiting for the user to call some button again. But now it should be ready. If I do this, let me bring my terminal. So this is the terminal I'm connected to. When I did the setup, I chose this terminal here. And I have some amount now. If I hit pay, we see the UI from the SDK shows up in the screen. And also the terminal updates. This blue menu here is just the debug menu for us to simulate tapping a card. So I'm going to do that. And we can see approve on both sides. Yeah. It shows the message box that we created here, the form, and updates the totals. So this is a very brief way of implementing it. Like I said, you can handle multiple other things here if you want. Another aspect of the make payment method is that actually it will not just send you a response, but it will also send you notifications about the in progress payment whenever there's a state change. And this is where the notifications we briefly mentioned before come into play. So this is where you will receive them, because notifications will not include an ID in the JSON RPC spec. So what you can actually do here is you can parse this root JSON element as a make payment state change. And then here you should be able to get an instance of the make payment state change, and you can call some callback or some event buzz that you have set up in your code to let the rest of your app know that there was an update to this payment. That's basically all I have to say for this video. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next one.